welcome back to my channel and welcome to my fourth video in my What's for Dinner series. In today's video, you're going to see 5 dinners that we had this week. 3 of those dinners I'm prepping extra so that I can make freezer meals for when this little baby decides to make his arrival. So I hope this video serves as double duty for you, giving you some good dinner inspiration and some good vegan freezer meal ideas. So let's get eating. Alright, it is Wednesday night and I had a doctor appointment today and just a busy day, so dinner tonight is going to be super simple. I got really excited because I went to Aldi to find things for dinner and I found some of their new vegan ravioli. So I got the eggplant one and the spinach one, and we're just going to make ravioli with some of their organic, you see that, roasted tomato garlic spaghetti sauce. Then I'm going to take some tomatoes, red onion, and cucumbers and chop them up with some olive oil, salt, pepper, and oregano, and just make a really quick, refreshing salad. And that is going to be dinner. Just super simple and delicious. Alright, so plate of raviolis. The circle ones are eggplant, the square ones are spinach. And then our fresh cucumber tomato salad. You could add some violet feta to this as well. It would be really good. You'll see I made this while my water was boiling. That way the flavors had time to sit and get really yummy together. This is actually something you can even make the day before and it'll be even better. It was kind of a last minute thought on my end, so that didn't happen, but I'll eat the leftovers tomorrow. And then of course, we're gonna sprinkle some of our Go Veggie vegan Parmesan over our pasta. And that is our super simple Wednesday night dinner. So I'll see you tomorrow night. All right, welcome to Friday night dinner. Tonight I'm making a giant batch of mashed potatoes. We're gonna make KFC famous bowls, not just for tonight, but we're gonna make a giant batch to freeze part of them for when baby arrives. So I'm just boiling some potatoes and I'll show you the rest when we get to it. Okay, I know that's a lot of vegan butter in this pan, but we're making KFC famous bowls. So I need to cook up some of this Gimme Lean veggie sausage in this butter, and I am making a huge batch of vegan milk gravy. I usually don't make a batch this large, but like I said, half of this meal tonight is going to be frozen and saved for when baby boy arrives. So everything I'm doing in bulk. This week you're going to see most of my meals being done in bulk. Obviously the ravioli was not, but I'm trying to at least make 3 meals this week that are able to be frozen so that we have a good amount of food stocked up for when little man arrives. I don't have a big freezer. My freezer is actually really pathetically small. But I'm doing what I can, and I want them to be satisfying meals, quick meals, comfort food for when all of us aren't getting much sleep. So you're not going to see the healthiest dinners for me this week, but you will see really freaking delicious dinners. So I'm going to leave a link above in the iCards of my biscuits and gravy recipe, because that shows you how I actually make my milk gravy. But I am going to finish browning up this sausage and making the milk gravy, and then we'll come back and make the rest of the famous bowls. All right, so I'm gonna take these chickenless tenders. I have an extra box that I'm saving in the freezer for when we reheat the mashed potatoes and the gravy for our famous bowls. I'm gonna cook these in the air fryer. And these I got from Aldi. They're really, really good. So if you have an Aldi in your area, they have all kinds of great vegan options. These work perfect for KFC famous bowls or just as little finger foods. And then over here, the hubs is mashing potatoes. Use vegan butter, vegan sour cream, almond milk, salt, pepper, garlic, and some onion powder to season our mashed potatoes. And he's working on that big batch while I'm finishing up the gravy.
More food.
All right, our milk gravy is just about finished. Jeff has completed the mashed taters. We have enough mashed potatoes and gravy to feed 10 people, which is perfect because that's what we need to be able to freeze. These Aldi chickenless tenders are cooked up. I'm just gonna heat up the corn and then I'll show you guys how I assemble the KFC bowls. All right, it is time to assemble our vegan KFC famous bowl. So I have put a heap of mashed potatoes into this bowl. I'm gonna add some of our corn. Usually I use fresh corn. Tonight I just wanted it to be easy, so I just picked up some frozen organic corn. Then we're gonna add a ladleful of our homemade milk and sausage gravy. You do not need to add sausage to your milk gravy. I just find it's easier to flavor it. Plus, we're gonna freeze this. And then they can also use this milk gravy for biscuits and gravy after little man is born. And then we're just gonna add some of our Aldi chickenless tenders. I like to cut them into bite-sized pieces. I do not have cheese for this famous bowl. Usually I use like the Violife cheddar, but the store was out. So we're just gonna add these. And then my husband will probably add some sort of hot sauce to his because that is how we roll in this house. And there you have our KFC famous bowl for dinner tonight. The leftover mashed potatoes, I'm gonna let cool, and they're going to be frozen in a loaf pan so that when I'm ready to use it, I can just bake it in the oven, and then I'm gonna freeze the extra gravy. I have extra corn and chickenless tenders already in the freezer, so these will be really easy meals to whip together after the baby's here. And then for tonight, I'm also cutting up this whole fresh cucumber. I already gave my kiddo some. This isn't the healthiest meal, but I still like to get some fresh vegetables in everybody. So I'm gonna cut up the rest of this cucumber and we're gonna eat this too. And that is dinner for Friday night in my house. All right, so for tonight's dinner, it's our dinner out tonight. So I ordered in just like a falafel platter. I'm gonna put some of this really spicy sauce on it, see if it'll induce some labor. And then I cut up some fresh cucumbers. So tonight's dinner is just really light and refreshing and easy because the next 2 days we are meal prepping some freezer meals to have saved when the baby comes. All right, for tonight's dinner, we're making an enchilada casserole. It is super, super simple to make. We're gonna need pinto beans, black beans. I use green enchilada sauce just because I prefer it, but you can use red. I use the Rotel. I'm gonna use some green chilies, 1 whole onion. I've got corn. I have 1 can of corn and then some leftover corn from the other day. And then some minced garlic. And then salt, pepper, and cumin for our spices. This is a really quick dump together meal. It also freezes really well. So I am making a huge batch so that we can have some for dinner tonight. And then I'm freezing a pan's worth to make sure we have it prepped for when little man arrives. Okay, so I have chopped our onion. I've added about 4 tablespoons of garlic into a pan with some olive oil. We're just gonna add 2 teaspoons of black pepper, about a tablespoon of cumin, This is for a big batch, so if you're making half of this, use only 1.5 teaspoons of cumin. It's pretty strong spice. And then we're gonna crack some Himalayan pink salt. We're gonna cook this down until our onions are really translucent and fragrant. And while I'm cooking this down, I'm gonna drain my cans of beans and get all my cans open so that we can mix together our filling for enchilada bake. Okay, so I have drained my corn, my pinto beans, and my black beans. I'm gonna add 1 can of Rotel. I'm gonna drain this so it doesn't get too soupy. If you were using Rotel to make rice, you wouldn't drain it. But because we're making an enchilada casserole, we want to keep the liquid a little low. So we're gonna add a can of Rotel, 1 7-ounce can of green chilies, our sauteed garlic and onions. To season this up, we're gonna grind in some pink salt. We're also gonna add a little more black pepper and about 1 teaspoon of hot Mexican chili powder. Then I'm also gonna take some of my green enchilada sauce, just a little bit, and then we're gonna mix this together. And this is the main component of our enchilada casserole. Now, if you wanted to make a creamier enchilada casserole, you could take some homemade cashew cream and use that in with this mixture. It would be delicious. I didn't because I'm not sure how cashew cream freezes, and a portion of this is going to become freezer meals for when little man decides to finally introduce himself to the world. But this is how easy it is. And then we're just gonna assemble. So I'm gonna finish mixing this thoroughly and then I'll show you how we assemble. I have the oven preheating to 400 degrees and we're gonna have a delicious, super fast, cheap dinner. All right, so when you assemble this as a casserole, just think of a lasagna. You could roll these up into enchiladas, but I don't know why you would do all that work when it tastes just as good this way. So we're just gonna put a little enchilada sauce on the bottom of the pan. Keep everything from sticking. And then I've taken some corn tortillas and cut them in half so that we have flat edges. We're just gonna layer them like you would noodles. And that's it. We're gonna pop it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. While this one's baking, I'm gonna assemble our one to freeze. The one I'm freezing, I'm literally just gonna assemble like this in one of these aluminum pans. And then I'm gonna cover it with foil. I'm not gonna bake it. I'm gonna save it to bake until the day that we eat it. And here you go. Still bubbling hot out of the oven, as you can see. The Go Veggie cheese isn't the best melty cheese. It does taste really good though, and it's just what they had at the store available. So I'm actually going to pack this up. We're going to a family dinner, and this is what I'm bringing. When I serve it, I'm going to serve it with some fresh sliced avocado, some vegan sour cream, and some shredded lettuce on top. And that is going to be dinner for Sunday night. Okay, for tonight's dinner, I'm making a lasagna. So I have a sauce simmering. This is one I make from scratch. You can use whatever family recipe you use for your sauce, or you can get whatever your favorite sauce from the grocery store is. Just make sure you have sauce. And then to doctor my just tomato, basil, garlic sauce that I make, I am browning up 2 packages of the hot Italian Beyond sausages. I'm making a huge batch because I'm going to have 2 lasagnas to make, and I want to freeze some of the sauce, so you can cut this in half. But I just wanted to show you what I'm going to use to add to the sauce to bulk it up, because when I make lasagna, I go all out. Cost is not an issue here. So I'm going to get this Beyond sausage browned and in my sauce to keep simmering for about another 30 minutes to an hour. And then I will come back and show you guys how I make my tofu ricotta, which is a total game changer for vegan lasagna. Okay, so now it's time to work on our tofu ricotta. You're gonna rough chop. You don't need to cut them really small because this is gonna go in the food processor, but cut up a whole onion, a couple tablespoons of garlic, and just salt and some olive oil. I'm gonna saute this down until it starts sweating out and getting translucent. And then in the meantime, I'm gonna take 3 blocks of tofu. This is because I'm making a huge batch because I'm making extra to freeze. I'm just gonna get the water out of this. You don't need to press it all day because ricotta cheese traditionally is a little bit juicy, but we're gonna press the excess water out of this tofu, and then we're gonna start assembling things in our food processor to make our tofu ricotta. Okay, so the first thing I did was I just took my 3 blocks of tofu, cubed them, and put them through the food processor to get them to fit in here. And now we're gonna add all the things that are gonna give this kind of a ricotta-like flavor. So I'm gonna add about 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. Oh no! Well, I had about 3 tablespoons and now I'm out. So you may need a little more than that, but that's what I have today. We're gonna add a healthy serving of salt. Tofu is very bland. Ricotta is traditionally a more bland cheese, but cheese naturally still has a good salt component. So since we're doing 3 blocks, I'm going to do about a tablespoon. I'm going to do about a teaspoon per block of tofu. I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, a few dashes of black pepper, and then we're also going to add our sauteed onions and garlic. I'm going to puree this up, and then we're going to come back and just add a little bit more since this is going to be one of our filling layers. We're just going to add some spinach, and then we'll be ready to layer our lasagna. So this is what our tofu ricotta looks like when it's all pureed up. I'm going to add a couple handfuls of baby spinach to it just to add more veggies to my lasagna. Before I was vegan or even vegetarian, I always added spinach to my cheese layer. 1, I just think aesthetically it's really pretty. And 2, if I can add some extra greens into anything, I will. So I'm a little overfilling my food processor. Don't do this. They tell you this is maxing it out. But it'll be fine. I'm just gonna puree this up, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how I layer my lasagnas. All right, so y'all know me. You know I'm your girl cooking on a budget, but when it comes to a lasagna, my budget goes out the window. I am a make a sauce all day kind of girl and make it really special. So like I said, I use the Beyond sausages in this sauce, and we're gonna use the Miyoko's vegan mozzarella to top this lasagna. If you skip the Beyond sausages in this Miyoko's mozzarella, this is a really cheap meal and still totally delicious. When I think of lasagna, I think of family, I think of Decadent, and I kind of spare no expense. So I'm gonna get this assembled really quick, and we're gonna pop it in the oven. And then after I assemble the one for dinner tonight in my pretty lasagna pan, I'm going to assemble the one that's going in my freezer. Alright, so as I've clearly made it evident, lasagna to me is just a really special family meal, and I just love to make the top look super pretty. So I always do these little pepper rings, and then I put some of my ricotta in the middle, and then I'm going to chop up some of this Miyoko's mozzarella and put that over the top, and then we are going to pop this delicious pan into the oven at 400 degrees for about 30 to 45 minutes until everything is cooked through and warm and bubbly and delicious. Now the lasagna I'm making for the freezer meal is definitely going to be smaller. It's going to be in just one of these little aluminum pans, because when I make this big lasagna, this is also lunch for my husband. He's a welder and his job is really strenuous. So I like to make sure he has good lunches stored up. If you've seen my meal prepping videos before, you know I always pack him a hearty lunch. But because when we're going to be eating this lasagna, he's not going to be working, we're hoping he can actually take 3 weeks off of work to be home after little man arrives. I won't need as many leftovers because he could just sit home and eat PBJ like the rest of us. So I'm just chopping this Miyoko's mozzarella. If you have not used this on pizza or lasagna, it's definitely a splurge and definitely worth every penny of that splurge. I'm not a huge fan of this one raw. A lot of people like it like in their caprese salads. Not a huge fan of that. But this is a really good, bubbly, delicious cheese for anything you would typically bake a fresh mozzarella on. So I'm going to finish this off, get it in the oven, and I will come back and show you what it looks like when it is all baked up and done. I mean, have you ever seen anything more bubbly and delicious? This is dinner tonight. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you're enjoying my What's for Dinner series. If there's anything you'd like to see veganized, I would love to start incorporating one subby dinner per week into my What's for Dinner. So let me know in the comments below if you want me to veganize something, and I will see what I can do about incorporating those dinners. If not now, definitely after the baby's here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single video. Every single Tuesday, I do my What's for Dinner series, and I will talk to you all next time. Thanks so much. Bye.